Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Now today I'm going to be ranking every horror movie I've watched so far in 2023, and the reason I'm doing this is because I only started my channel in April, so it'll give you an idea of what my thoughts were with these new horror movie releases that we've had so far this year. I just haven't had the chance to review them because obviously I've only just started the channel and these movies have already come out. So I would like to probably rank every horror movie I've seen at the end of the year, but I'm just going to do these ones for now so I can get my thoughts out on them. I like to watch all new horror and stuff, but there is a few I haven't seen yet. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is one, a big one that I haven't seen yet, but once I watch that, I'll probably do a review of it on this channel, and that's another reason I'm doing this video. Every new horror movie I see from now on will probably be reviewed on the channel, if not all of them, the majority of them. Now, there are three movies that I'm not going to include here. The first one is The Boston Strangler. I do think that's more of a thriller, drama type movie. The second one is Cocaine Bear. It's kind of a crime, drama, comedy. I don't know if that's full horror. And the other one is 65, which is more of an adventure dinosaur film. So I have seen them films, I'm just not including them in this list. And there are 8 horror movies to talk about here so far. So let's just get into it now. In last place, in 8th place. So number 8 is going to be The Pope's Exorcist. Now, I am a fan of nearly every subgenre of horror, but one of my least favourites has got to be demonic possession. I just think there's a lot of them that are the same. Don't get me wrong, The Exorcist is a fantastic film, and I am looking forward to that legacy sequel, if you like, later on in October this year. But most of the time, I just kind of don't get hyped for them. Because they're horror, I will go and watch them. I do have a certain interest in seeing them. But The Pope's Exorcist just did not do it for me at all. I went with my friend and he thought the exact same thing. The only saving grace for this film, for me, was Russell Crowe's performance. He was a enjoyable character to be around as this guy who goes around doing these exorcisms, this priest. But there's a lot of things wrong with this movie. First of all, it's a total Exorcist ripoff. I know a lot of people say, well, how can you do it without ripping off The Exorcist? But what I mean by that is the young child who's possessed is just shouting all these obscenities out. He's delving into the two priests' past and what they've been up to, like he does with Father Karras and stuff in The Exorcist. It's just kind of a shot-for-shot remake of The Exorcist in its own way. Not shot for shot, but it just takes a lot of things from that film. And at one point, for a large chunk of this middle section of the movie, I was just thinking, man, this is a total rip-off of that film. Now, it does try to do its own thing a little bit in the third act, but overall, I didn't really enjoy the characters. I didn't really enjoy the story at all. It was just basically Russell Crowe, the only character in the film who I attached myself to, who I liked. And I like the way he goes around on his little scooter there performing these exorcisms. But not a movie I'm going to be in a rush to watch anytime soon again. And I'm kind of surprised that this has been getting a bit of praise because I just didn't enjoy it really at all. So in 8th place is The Pope's Exorcist. Number 7 is going to be There's Something Wrong with the Children. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't hate this film. I didn't think it was great either, but it's definitely a watchable film. It reminds me of the movie The Children. Some of you may have seen that film, but it's basically the same sort of premise. These two families go to this kind of log cabin. They stay over and just have a weekend away, but they find this little kind of cave and they go and explore in it because the kids want to go in and have a little look. They learn about a bit of a history about it and stuff. But when they come out of this cave, something's wrong with the children, basically, as it says in the title. Something has kind of got a hold of them, and lots of sinister things start to play out. My biggest problem with this film was the ending. I thought it was kind of silly. And also, the characters are just so unlikable here. The two kids were okay, but the 4 main parents in this movie, damn man, they were just assholes. And some of the dialogue they were coming out with was just so filler, but I was just thinking, couldn't a better writer just come up with some other things to say here. They're talking about fucking foursomes and stuff, and it's just, yeah, it's got nothing to do with the movie, really. So, overall, not a bad watch, but again, I wish it could have done something a little bit more with that concept. So number 7 is There's Something Wrong with the Children. Number 6 is going to be Megan. Now, this was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I just don't think I loved it as much as a lot of other people. A lot of people seem to really love this movie. I give it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That is not a bad score at all. If you want to follow me on that, I'll be down below in the description. This is basically about a young girl who goes to live with her aunt because her parents, I think they were killed in a car crash. And her aunt works for this big tech company, and they're working on this doll called Megan. It's kind of like an attachment like your phone, but in doll form, really. It does all the smart stuff and stuff. And she gets this first prototype, and it's kind of like a test, really. This young girl gets Megan to take home and become best friends with. And what do you think happens? Yes, lots of sinister murders start to happen around Megan and this young girl, basically. Look, it is what it is. It's a fun movie. There's some cool little kills in there, although a lot of them are off screen, and we were promised a big gore fest in the unrated director's cut, which I have not seen yet, but I've heard it's not that at all. There's just a few problems with the film. Like I said, some of the kills are cool, but some of them are just off screen. The aunt character was just, apparently she's lost her sister in this car crash, but you wouldn't have thought it at all. She just doesn't care. She doesn't show 1 ounce of emotion throughout the movie. There are large portions that build the story up, which I appreciate. I like a good story, but it does take its time to get there for the first 40 minutes, really. However, Megan was a great character. You know, she's not Chucky or anything, but she was a great character. I'd like to see her again in a sequel. I love the way she crawls on all fours, going after people who are bullying this young girl and stuff. So for me, it was a fine movie. I would watch it again, you know. I just didn't love it. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Number 6 is Megan. Number 5 is going to be Unwelcome. Now, I was very intrigued about this film. A couple go and live in Ireland, and these little people at the bottom of the garden need to be fed, otherwise they're going to come after this couple in the house. Now, that sounds like the stupidest fucking movie you've ever seen, but it actually worked for me. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, nothing groundbreaking or anything. I think I'd give it 3.5 or something on Letterboxd there, but it's more than just these little people coming into the house, basically. This is a home invasion type film, I feel. The reason they're moving to Ireland is because they were broken in by these burglars. But in the middle of the movie, it becomes all that again. The little people who live at the bottom of the garden are just kind of a side thought, and it kind of throws you off. I appreciated the way it done that, to be honest. Yeah, there's some really high tense sequences with these characters, and you know, the confrontations they're having with these people who are doing work on their house and stuff when these little people come into the movie. I thought they looked quite sinister, really, and, you know, well done. There was some cool kills in this, some cool bloodshed and stuff. I really enjoyed the main 2 characters. For me, it was an okay film. I've seen people say this is one of the worst movies they've ever seen and everything, but for me, I enjoyed it. So, yeah. Something different there, I feel. That is Unwelcome. Number 4 is going to be Renfield. Nicolas Cage as Dracula. What more do you need than that? Also got Nicholas Hoult in there thrown in, who was great in The Menu last year, and here is no exception. These two work so well on screen together. This is basically about this young man called Renfield, who's Dracula's kind of assistant, really, isn't he? And he's fed up with Dracula bullying him and stuff, so he sets out to go and live his own life, but Dracula is having none of that and tries to put a stop to it, basically. I really enjoyed this one. This was such a surprising movie for me. Nicolas Cage, man, he was just born to play this character. They couldn't have picked a better actor to go into this role. He's just such an arsehole in this. This is a horror comedy, but I think they get the horror so brilliantly down to a T, because Dracula even though he's coming out with some funny quotes and stuff, he's evil as fuck in this movie. He really is a dark character, but they get so many comedic things right as well. You know, I was laughing my ass off throughout this film. The gore on screen really just adds to the horror as well. It's a bloodbath, this movie. Bloodshed everywhere, you know, gore on screen for gore hounds. They're gonna love it. I just had a great time with this movie. I walked out the cinema with a big smile on my face, and you kind of get attached to Renfield's character. You want him to overcome this narcissistic bully, really. And I feel like it got the message across well as well to people who have ever suffered from anyone who is a narcissist. That message will get across to you well. They can relate to that in this film, I feel. But yeah, such a good time, this one. I can't wait to see it again with my wife, who wasn't able to come to the cinema with me. Definitely going to rewatch it with her. I know she's going to love it. So yeah, fantastic movie. In fourth place is Renfield. In third place is going to be M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin. I will watch anything this director makes because I just feel like he gives us something different every time I go and see one of his movies. I love how he makes these secluded little low-budget films with great atmospheres. Like, we're in a secluded location here and something massive is happening on the outside of the world. It's kind of like Signs, where we're just watching it on a farmhouse, but the world is being taken over by aliens. At Knock at the Cabin, there's something going on the outside, but we're all stuck here in this cabin with these few characters, basically. And this is about a couple and their daughter who... These four characters knock at the house and say, look, one of you is going to have to be killed by the other one, otherwise the world's going to end. And one of them believes these four characters, and the other one just thinks they're all batshit crazy. They can't come to a decision, and blood is starting to be shed. Now, I kind of reminded me of the movie Frailty, because in that film, this guy goes home and talks to his two kids and says, we've been sent out to do God's work by slaying these demons who disguised as humans. And one of the kids believes him, and the other kid thinks he's a lunatic. And you don't know which side to be on, and that's exactly what I was like in this film. Am I going to believe Dave Bautista's character and his little group of cronies, or am I going to believe that he is insane and he's talking absolute shite? So what I liked about it as well, the couple, one of them is starting to believe as the movie goes on, and the other one is just thinking, no, you are insane. And each one of them characters acts as one of your shoulders, basically. You don't know who to believe as this movie's going on. And I just thought it played out really well. The only thing that is missing, and it is glaringly obvious, is the big twist at the end. There isn't really a big twist. And I think Shyamalan missed the ball there. Now, I know you shouldn't just expect the twist because he does twists in his movies all the time, but I think it would have worked so much more well if he did actually throw one in there. But I remember watching the film and thinking that was okay, and that night I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I thought, you know what, that was so much better than I initially thought it was. So I had a great time with this. I would watch it again. And Dave Bautista gives one of his best performances so far. Great to see Rupert Grint in there as well as this villainous character. I thought he was awesome. Would like to see him play that part again in some way, in a different movie. But number 3 is Knock at the Cabin. Number 2 is going to be Evil Dead Rise. Now, this is a solid horror movie franchise that continued to be awesome with this film. I love the location change to a block of flats. I was really looking forward to see how that plays out. It is basically an Evil Dead film in an apartment block. The group of characters we have here is a family, so the whole family dynamic comes into things where family is kind of turned against each other there. That was interesting to see. The mother in this movie, who is the first one to be turned into a demonite. I don't think that's a spoiler. It's on the front cover. It's in the trailer. You know, you can't miss it, really. She gave off a great performance, Elisa Sutherland there. She really did. She was terrifying. And once that starts to happen in the movie, where she is taken over, shit starts to go down. There is a lot of gore in this film. Cheese graters are used to fucking pierce skin. I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie before. Some great directional choices here, especially the peephole scene where a character is looking through a peephole and there's all sorts of shit going down behind there with a little bit of blood just trickled on the peephole. So that was a great decision by the director there. And it's just a good story that plays out, basically. I did like the characters in this film. I've heard a lot of people say that they couldn't quite latch onto them, but I think the movie done a good job of introducing us to them, and they were likeable enough. I did kind of care what happened to them. Yeah, for me, this was a solid Evil Dead movie. I had a great time with it, and I've got an Evil Dead Rise review and a full Evil Dead Rise ranking. Sorry, a full Evil Dead ranking. They'll be down below in the description if you want to check them out. Number 2 is Evil Dead Rise. Number 1, though, is going to be from another very, very strong horror franchise, and that is Scream 6. And this just isn't my favourite horror movie on this list. It's my favourite movie of the year, bar none, to be honest, so far. Even though it's not anything amazing or great, I still had a very, very good time with this film. It's one of the best Scream sequels, in my opinion. The first hour of the movie, I was just thinking, wow, this film is just totally for me. And even though it does go downhill a little bit in the second act, it's still very, very enjoyable. You know, the whole movie, I had a great time with. And we see, you know, a more brutal Ghostface here. There's so many great scenes in this film. I love the part where he just goes into this shop and just starts fucking people up. You know, in the middle of New York City here. The location change does work a lot for the movie. I wish it could have been utilised better, but they do utilise it to their advantage in some scenes, like an apartment block where they're trying to get from, a character is trying to get from one side to the other using a ladder, and Ghostface is shaking the ladder and stuff like that. We also have a great subway scene that was so tense. You know, they do utilise it enough, I feel. I like the legacy characters that are continuing these movies. I hope we get a Scream 7. I'll be totally down for that. Yeah, for me, this was a solid sequel. I enjoyed this better than Scream 5. I would put it up there with number 4 as my favourite Scream sequels. It done a job for me, and I always have fun with these movies, but I absolutely loved Ghostface in this one. Just going back to him there, the dialogue he comes out with, man, it had me in stitches. The dark humour he comes out with here was just fantastic to see. So probably my least favourite reveal out of all of the movies, though. I will say that it's not a perfect film by any means. Overall, a great time. Number 1 is Scream 6. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think of this year, 2023, so far with the horror movies in general. Is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey going to be bottom of the list below the Pope's Exorcist when I watch it? Watch out for a review for that coming soon as well. That should be on the channel. But let me know what your favourite horror movies of the year so far are. I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. Please give this video a like and subscribe. It will really help me out. And I'll see you all on the next video. Take care.